The UK energy shock has started, and most people still think this is just another foreign news story that won't really touch normal life here in Britain. But that is the parts people get wrong, because this isn't just about missiles, maps, or what happens in a place most people will never visit. This is about what happens when oil infrastructure gets hit, gas markets tighten, shipping routes get disrupted, and a country like Britain, which has a very thin energy buffer, gets caught in the middle of it. Welcome back to Charlie Survival. Before we get into this, comment below and tell me where you think Britain will feel this first: petrol, food, heating, or electricity. And if you're new here and you care about staying calm, prepared, and ahead of the curve in the UK, subscribe. Now, straight away, let me clear something up. You may have seen the claim that Britain only has 2 days left of gas. That headline is dramatic, but it misses the real story. The point is not the UK simply runs out in 48 hours. Britain still gets gas from the North Sea, Norway, LNG imports, and European links. The real issue is that our stored buffer is small, our system is exposed, and when global energy gets squeezed, Britain feels it fast. That is the real danger here, and that is what a lot of people still do not understand. We've built a country where over 70% of homes use gas for heating. Gas still plays a huge role in electricity generation, and yet Britain has much less gas storage than countries like Germany or France. Reuters reported Britain's storage sites can hold around 12 days of demand, far below many European peers. So this is not really a story about one scary number, it's a story about how little room for error Britain has when the markets turn ugly. And right now the market is getting ugly. As I'm filming this, Reuters have reported that around 1.9 million barrels per day of Gulf refining capacity has been shut because of the Iran war. Israeli strikes on oil depots and refineries around Tehran also created massive toxic smoke clouds over the city, showing this is no longer some abstract geopolitical standoff. Energy infrastructure is being dragged directly into this conflict. That matters because once oil infrastructure gets hit, once refining is disrupted, and while the Strait of Hormuz becomes a problem, the whole world starts bidding against itself for the same barrels, the same cargoes, and the same routes. And Britain is not isolated from that. Even if Britain does buy huge direct volumes from one single source like Qatar, it still buys into a global market. So if LNG cargoes are disrupted, delayed, rerouted, or fought over, Britain still gets dragged into the same price storm. Reuters reported that Europe is already facing a gas storage scramble, with storage across major European markets expected to be only around 22 to 27% full by the end of March, well below the recent norm. That is pressure point number one. Pressure point number two is the Gulf itself. Reuters reported Qatar's energy minister warned crude could hit $150 a barrel within 2 to 3 weeks if ships and tankers cannot pass through the Strait of Hormuz. Whether it reaches that exact number or not, the warning tells you something important. The people closest to the flow of energy are telling you that the risk is real, and even if the war cooled tomorrow, damaged infrastructure and broken supply chains would not instantly snap back to normal. Pressure point number three is Russia, because while all of this is happening in the Middle East, Russia is also openly talking about energy leverage over Europe. Reuters reported that Putin said an energy crisis has arrived and that Russia was ready to work with Europe, but only on the terms Moscow sees as reliable and long-term. Reuters also reported that Russia's government would soon discuss stopping gas exports to Europe. So let me say this, if you're trying to build a more resilient UK household, check out my Charlie Survival Amazon kit list. I've spent over a year putting together practical gear and household essentials that make sense for normal British homes. Not fancy apocalyptic stuff, just useful kit that helps you stay ready. And also download my free blackout checklist. I'll leave the link in the pinned comment. It's free, practical, and when you download it, you'll also be the first to hear about my upcoming UK Crisis Readiness System course, which is designed to help ordinary people in Britain become far more prepared without going overboard. So, even if nothing changes overnight, the message is clear. Europe is still vulnerable to energy being used as a strategic weapon. So, when you zoom out, this is why I think this story matters so much. It's not one thing, it's not just gas, it's not just oil, it's not just Iran, it's not just Russia, it is the chain reaction. It is Britain sitting in a position where oil can spike, gas can tighten, refining can be disrupted, LNG can get diverted. Russia can apply pressure, and all of it feeds back into the same place. your daily life. This is what they're not telling you clearly enough, because the first effect is usually not some dramatic Hollywood blackout where the whole country goes dark tomorrow morning. The first effect is more boring than that and more dangerous. It starts with friction. Petrol gets more expensive, diesel gets more expensive, heating oil jumps, wholesale gas jumps. Businesses that are not protected the same way households are feel it first. Suppliers pass costs on, food transport gets hit, manufacturing gets hit, and suddenly what looked like foreign news turns into another squeeze on the wallet here in the UK. Reuters reported UK wholesale gas prices spiked by around 70% in a single week during the latest shock, and the OBR has warned inflation could end 2026 around 3% if energy prices stay elevated. That matters because when inflation sticks around, rate cuts can get delayed, borrowing gets harder, businesses get squeezed, and households feel like they are being crushed from every direction at once. And this is where normal life starts to change, not all at once, not with one giant bang, but with a long list of smaller hits that add up. You drive less because fuel is dearer, you hesitate before turning the heating on, your grocery bill creeps up again, a local business cuts staff, an online order costs more to deliver, a supplier adds a supercharge. Your next fixed deal is worse than the last one. That is how a country feels an energy shock, not just through the headline, through the drip, drip, drip of rising costs and shrinking confidence. Now let's get into what I think you should actually do. The first thing is do not panic, but do not drift either. This is one of those moments where being early matters. You do not want to be the person reacting when everyone else has already started topping up fuel, panic buying essentials, or stripping shelves of the obvious stuff. If your car is low, top it up. If you use heating oil and you are already due a refill, look at it now, not after another jump. If there are key household items you know you use every week, build a bit of depth, not 6 years of beans, just breathing room. 7 days of breathing room is better than 0. The second thing is reduce dependency where you can, because the most resilient household is not always the one with the most stuff. Sometimes it is simply the one that needs less. If your home loses power for a bit, what do you actually need to keep your home calm? Light, water, a way to cook, a way to charge phones, a way to stay warm, a way to know what is going on. That is the real question. Can your household absorb disruption without turning it into chaos? Because that is what this channel is really about. Not fear for the sake of fear, not doom for the sake of clicks. It is about reducing the penalty of bad timing. And Britain right now is vulnerable to bad timing. The third thing is think in layers. Most people prepare in one big dramatic leap in their heads, so they never actually start. They imagine building some massive prepper bunker, spending thousands, or transforming into a completely different person. You do not need that. Think in layers. Layer 1, top up daily essentials. Layer 2, basic backup for a short power cut. Layer 3, a little fuel margin and some extra food. Layer 4, warmth, lighting and communication. Layer 5, a plan. Because the plan is what most people are missing. If bills jumped again, what would you cut off? If fuel becomes harder to get, what journeys matter most? If the power went out tonight, what room becomes your safe room? If food inflation surged again, what staples would you rely on? These are the boring questions until they are not, and the people who stay calm in a crisis are usually the ones who answered those questions before the pressure arrived. The fourth thing is stop waiting for headlines to perfectly explain this to you, because by the time the average person feels certain, it is usually already expensive. That is the pattern. The people who move early look paranoid for a week and prepared and sensible for 6 months. I'm not saying Britain is about to collapse. I'm not saying tomorrow everything falls apart. I am saying the energy shock has started. The warning lights are already flashing, and if the conflict drags on or spreads further, the squeeze on UK life gets harder to ignore. That is consistent with the current reporting on disrupted refining, tighter gas markets, higher fuel prices, and official concerns about inflation. So here is the bottom line. The story is not Britain has 2 days left of gas. The story is that Britain has far less cushion than most people realise. The story is that normal life can get more expensive, more fragile, and more stressful in a very short space of time. And the story is that most people still wait far too long before taking simple, practical steps. Do not be most people. Take this seriously. Stay calm. Get your basics in order. Build margin while you still can. If this video helped you see the bigger picture, picture, hit like, hype and subscribe, and comment below the most important item you are stocking up on right now. And if you want a practical place to start, check out my Charlie Survival Amazon kit list and download the free blackout checklist in the pinned comment. When you do, you'll also be the first to hear about my UK Crisis Readiness System course when it drops soon. Now, if you want to learn all about what food to get right now, I recommend watching this video on screen so you're not caught short. Click it and I'll see you over there.